Most people don't realize this is happening until they get declined. You pay your bills. You don't carry crazy debt. You've even been doing better financially over the past year. And then you apply for a loan, or try to refinance, or even just open a new credit line. And the response comes back, not approved, or worse, approved, but at a rate that makes no sense. And you're sitting there thinking, what are they seeing that I'm not? Here's the real question. What if your financial behavior isn't wrong? It's just being interpreted wrong? My name is Max, and I spend way too much time thinking about how financial systems translate human behavior into numbers that decide your opportunities. And here's the thing. Lenders don't actually see you. They see patterns. Compressed, simplified, and often distorted patterns. And those patterns don't always mean what you think they mean. So let's break this down. There are 4 specific ways your financial behavior seems misinterpreted by lenders. And once you see these, you'll realize why doing the right things doesn't always produce the result you expect. Number 1. Stability gets seen as risk. Let's start here. You've probably heard, keep your accounts open longer. Show stability. Makes sense, right? But here's what most people don't realize. Lenders don't just measure how long you've had credit. They measure how actively it's being used and updated. According to FICO, about 15% of your score comes from the length of credit history. But another 35% comes from payment history and activity patterns. So here's where things go sideways. Let's say you have a credit card you've had for 12 years. You barely use it anymore. Maybe one small charge every few months. To you, that looks like stability. To a lender, it can look like inactive or unreliable data. Because they don't see consistency. They see gaps. Think of it like this. If someone checked your fitness progress, but you only logged workouts every 3 months, they wouldn't say you're consistent. They'd say they don't have enough data. Real-world consequence. You might have a long history, but still get priced like someone with less reliable behavior. Number 2. Low utilization is seen as low capacity. Now this one surprises people. You've probably been told, keep your credit usage low. And that's true. But here's where it gets interesting. There's a difference between low usage and proven capacity. Let's do simple math. You have $10,000 total credit limit. You only ever use $500. That's 5% utilization. Looks perfect, right? But lenders also ask, have you ever successfully managed larger amounts? Because according to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, lenders assess not just current ratios, but ability to handle higher exposure levels over time. So if you've never carried $2,000, paid down $3,000, managed higher balances responsibly, you haven't demonstrated capacity. It's like saying, I can lift 200 pounds. But you've only ever lifted 20. Real-world consequence. You look safe, but not scalable. And that can limit approvals for larger opportunities. Number 3. Responsible payoff behavior gets noticed as revenue loss. This one feels unfair. You pay your cards off early. You avoid interest. You stay disciplined. But lenders? They track something else entirely. According to data from Federal Reserve, a significant portion of credit profitability comes from interest-bearing accounts, not just on-time payers. So here's what happens. If you always pay off immediately, never carry a balance, rarely generate interest, you're classified differently, not as bad, but as less profitable behavior. Now you might be thinking, wait, are you saying I should carry debt? No, not at all. But this is where the system is different. You're optimizing for financial health. They're optimizing for predictable revenue behavior. And sometimes, those two don't align. Here's a real-world consequence. You might receive lower credit line increases, fewer promotional offers, or less aggressive lending terms, even though you're doing everything right. Number 4. Income growth gets seen as volatility. This is the one that hits high performers the hardest, especially business owners and freelancers, especially people in transition. Let's say your income increased from $70,000 to $110,000 in 18 months. That sounds like progress to you. But lenders don't just see growth. They see variance. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, income volatility has increased significantly, especially among non-traditional workers. So instead of asking, "Are you earning more?" they ask, "Is this consistent?" If your income fluctuates month to month, comes from multiple sources, includes contracts or freelance work, it can get categorized as unstable income streams, even if the total is higher. Think about that. You improved your situation, but the system flags it as risk, with real-world consequences of lower approval amounts, more documentation requests, higher interest rates. Not because you're doing worse, but because you don't fit the model. So now step back for a second. This is where it gets really interesting. None of these are mistakes. They're translation errors. You're behaving like a human, but being evaluated like a data model. And that gap? That's where most financial frustration comes from. Because it's not about being better. It's about being interpretable. Look, you don't need to become reckless. You don't need to game the system. But you do need to understand this. Lenders reward clarity of pattern, not just quality of behavior. So here are 3 ways to reposition yourself immediately. Number 1. Create consistent data signals. Instead of sporadic credit usage, shift to small, regular, predictable activity, even $50 to $100 per month, consistently used and paid. This builds clean, readable behavior patterns. Number 2. Demonstrate capacity in controlled amounts. If you've never used more than 5% of your credit lines, try responsibly using 10% to 20% occasionally, then paying it down. You're showing, "I can handle more without losing control." That's what lenders need to see. 3. Normalize your income story. If your income varies, anchor it. Use averaged monthly income, consistent deposits, documented contracts. You're not changing your income. You're changing how it's perceived. So let's go back to the beginning. You applied. You got declined. And it didn't make sense. Now you can see why. It wasn't necessarily your discipline. It wasn't your effort. It was the way your behavior was being translated into a system that doesn't think like you do. And once you understand that, you stop guessing. You start positioning. Thanks for watching. If you're someone who feels like you're doing everything right financially, but still not getting the results you expect, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up.